Right guys, who is the best swordsman in Japan? My name's Anthony Cummins and I'm the author of these books that you see behind me. Book of Ninja, Book of Bushido, Book of Samurai, etc. But today we're going to discuss who is the greatest swordsman of Japan. But I want to do it with a little bit of a difference. I don't want to say who's the best fighter on that. I want to take you a little bit into Japanese history and the kanji. That's the Japanese writing that helps you understand the way of the samurai a little bit more. So we're working from this book. We're working from Taisha Ryu's Unraveling the Cords. So get yourself a copy of that, Unraveling the Cords, if you can. I'm going to explain how people in Japan used to say the best swordsman of all Japan. How do you think you would say it in Japanese? Well, actually, the way it's said is the best under heaven, or the greatest under heaven. So there's two kanji, which I'll show on the screen for you, and they are basically means heaven and under. Yep. And what heaven and under means is there's the heavens above there, everything on the ground. So you can't compare yourself to the gods, who weirdly actually live on the ground in Japan. But what it means is that in creation, inside the creation of the universe, who is the best underneath it all. So I'm going to now read to you a passage from that book and a story, and you've got to get in your head there's two people around the early 1600s, and that turn from war to a bit later on to peace, and we've got two characters. One is Marume Kurando, who is actually the master of Taisha Ryu. So this is the book, The History of Taisha Ryu, and you get Yagyu, or the Yagyu family, and we'll go into him there. But basically you've got a Kurando and a Yagyu. Yep. And what they are both taught by one person, Kami Izumi. Okay, so there's a Kami Izumi at the top, and he teaches two students. And this tale is obviously not true, but it shows to you how the Japanese believed that they would declare who was the best and who was not. So let's get into it.
One day, Yagyu Munenori is said to have also proclaimed himself best swordsman under heaven in all of Japan. As a previous claimant to the same title, Kurando could not leave such a bold claim standing and departed for Edo to challenge Munenori to a duel. What followed became the perhaps most famous legend in the history of Taisha Ryu. When Kurando visited Munenori's residence, Yagyu meditated for a while, but then said after careful consideration, "I am confident in my skills, but at the same time I think you and I are the only two true masters under heaven. If either of us wins, the other is sure to be injured. I am undecided about what to do with this duel. The world would not benefit from it, but how to decide who is stronger? The late master Kami Izumi is the only one who could possibly made this decision." Legend had it that at the very moment the spirit of Kami Izumi appeared and said, "Losing even one of the best two swordsmen under heaven would be too grave a price to pay. Therefore, from now on, I have decided that Yagyu shall be the greatest swordsman in the 33 states of Eastern Japan, while Kurando should be the greatest swordsman in the 33 states of the West." So it was agreed between the two masters. But this story soon reached the ears of the shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu, who said, according to legend, "So it is decided. The greatest swordsman of Eastern Japan shall be Yagyu, and the greatest swordsman of Western Japan shall be Marume." So Marume Kurando and Yagyu Munenori. Now, if you can have a look here, let me zoom in for you. If you have a look here, we've got Eastern Japan. So that's East, no, it's just a particle, don't worry about that. Heaven under number one. So it's East, then skip one, heaven under one. So it's basically the greatest, or the number one person under heaven of the East. So let's read it backwards. The number one person under heaven in the East. Now the one underneath it is the West, which is, again, let's read it from right to left, the wrong way around for Japanese because it makes sense in English. The number one under heaven in the West. So there you see. So basically that would then say who is, and by the way, it says 33 provinces. There are 66 provinces in Japan, or that's the number which is normally given. So 33 in the East and 33 in the West, meaning you two people are the best in all Japan.
So there you go, guys. So the best swordsman in the late Sengoku, early Edo period is actually meant to be two men, Marume Kurando and Yagu Muninori. Okay, now this is a story is what would probably be considered apocryphal, meaning it's not really real, because the two probably did not meet to do that, and of course the spirit of the ghost probably didn't turn up and say it. But the point is here for you guys that there was a race to see who could be the best in Japan, and there is a term which says, hey, I'm the best in Japan. And, you know, and people fought for that idea of who was the best. Now, of course, this story comes from Taisha Ryu itself. So, of course, it's going to be that, you know, Marume Kurando turned up and Yagi Muninori was not quite sure and was like, well, I don't want to do this. But they don't say it so that he seems cowardly. You see what I mean? He's well done for that. Now, this book is a little bit expensive, but if you want to get a copy and follow this type of stuff, get yourself a copy. I fully support Alex and Taisha Ryu, and they've been doing a great job in getting you some great history there. So if you follow me, get yourself a copy of Book of Ninja or Book of Bushido. If you like Tolkien, get Tolkien, or you can get Yin Yang, I Ching, or Art of War if you're into Chinese stuff, Japanese stuff with a bit of Western, Chinese stuff. Enjoy, and I'll see you next time.